see you looking out your window. I see you looking out your window. What do you see? Wondering what you're thinking. Wondering what you're thinking. What can it be?
All right, now I think we have everything rolling. 1, 2, 3 cameras and 2 recorders. Something's got to work, right?
Hopefully.
All right. So this is Darren back in Hortonville with Kelly. So after the last investigation, which was really intense, I know David had come down from Green Bay and we had a lot of hot spots in the house. One of the big ones was over on the side of the couch. The SLS camera got some really interesting stick figures that were walking around. And then when Anthony was here, I had my SLS camera set up on the table and he couldn't focus on me. So there was something, because the camera looks at what it's looking at and then finds the focus if you're not doing it automatically. And it wouldn't find me. There was something standing between me and the table. So he had to focus on me manually. And even then, something be walking back and through, which is messing up the focus. And then we started using some of the meters and some of the other equipment. And we found hot spots in the floor. And we looked at where like the wiring would be. Usually, it runs crisscross as far as going to a light or going down the wall to like an outlet or a light switch. And a couple of spots we had, there was nothing there. And then we got into the far bedroom with the mirror on the wall. And that was like a portal. And so we figured, well, maybe it's the mirror acting up. So we took the mirror off the wall and there's still something was there. And so that was intense. And then the closet was insane, especially like the red clothing and those items, and then a couple pictures and stuff. So we had moved all of that stuff closer to the window. And I know when we saged the house, we started from the basement, which they said originally was the hot spot in the house, like the contractors and the activity. And we had nothing going on down there. So it's like the spirit or whatever the presence had shifted. So we started in the basement, made our way up to the first floor, got up to the second floor, the 2 back bedrooms, got into the hot bedroom, and then pushed the stuff out the window and then sealed everything off with the blessing, the prayer, and then like the crosses. So after that, how was the house when you moved back in?
A lot better. I was still apprehensive to be here in some sense, but before re-entering in the house, I did get baptized. Also just doing a lot of work on the house, getting it cleaned up, filled a 20-foot dumpster of items that were left here when I purchased the house and cleaning up messes that should have been cleaned up before I purchased. And I feel like that makes whatever is in the house still happier. Kind of given advice from the investigation prior. Nothing too negative, but there are times where you can still feel like someone watching you. There's been a few times the rocking chair has been starting to rock by itself. Certain times I still won't go in the basement, although it's not as scary as what it used to be.
Are there certain times of the day or the night?
At night, usually after like between 7 and 9 or after 9 p.m., I will not go into the basement. Usually after 9 is when down here you'll see at times like almost like someone walking past through the door frame out of the corner of your eye, or that's usually the time frame when the rocking chair will start to rock. So I just go upstairs and go to bed.
So does it feel like more childish or kiddish or pranksters, like less evil? Or
no evil intent. Almost kind of like still here in this home, but has no ill content towards me. Something that was interesting during the investigation with you guys, before you came here, during the event where I smoked Delta 8 and ended up going to a Delta 8 psychosis, but I felt like the house was talking to me during that time and showing me things in the house that had happened prior. And it all started when I cleaned out the grate right behind you.
And you talked about the grate the last time. Now,
Yes.
what type of items were in there? Where did you find other things?
There were chalk, musket balls, marbles. It almost kind of like someone was living under there.
Musket balls.
Yeah, like metal musket ball. I have one of them over there. I
Like
saved.
Civil War-ish or like muzzle loader stuff?
I can have you take a look at it.
Sure, we'll
It's
take a
over
peek when
there.
we're done.
So after that, I felt like there were other spots in the house where something happened here. And I went upstairs, I tore apart the bathroom, thinking that there was something behind that wall. Never actually got behind the wall. Um, but then I started seeing other things in the house that happened, like past events, like that a veteran was here and saw him pacing around and he was feeling grieved about shooting someone in the back. And it was like I was reliving those moments almost. But I remember hearing at one point in time that said, Mr. Geezy is a pack rat. And he was upset because I threw away something.
Uh-oh.
Well, just prior to that, in the backyard, something kind of told me to dig. I took a metal detector, went in that spot, and found a whole bunch of Matchbox cars, which I still have outside as well.
So why would they be buried in the backyard, do you think?
I don't know. And there's
Hey,
a few other
kids.
spots that have said like to dig. They're from the 1970s. 1978 was the oldest year on the cars. But found out after that, it didn't make sense why I was saying that or seeing that. But after, when the lower bathroom was remodeled, on the wall there was a metal plaque that says Mr. Geezy. So there was actually a Mr. Geezy who lived here, and I have no prior knowledge
You
of
wouldn't
that.
have known that before.
No. And I'm not sure if the plaque is still there, if it was just covered up, or if it's still there.
So none of that stuff was disclosed like when
No.
you came through the house the first time?
No.
Wow.
So that was something that was pretty interesting to me, at least.
And then you said something about bones
Yes.
in the registers?
Yeah, there were some kind of bone and bone fragments. Not chicken bones, but I don't know, maybe kind of like rabbit bones or something.
Oh, okay.
So that was, and they were older, definitely older. And the chalk too was older. Like there was like a little, like there used to be rope or string hanging through the piece of chalk.
Oh, like it was hung on the board?
Yes.
Okay, wow. So the rabbit and stuff like that, squirrel, it'd be like a small game hunter. Most
Yeah.
people would never do that, but others, yeah. Deer hunting, sure, but rabbit, that's interesting too. And then, so after those things were removed, like the cars and the bones, anything else different?
So when they first were discovered on the property, I felt like things really kind of heightened up here. There was a lot of weird stuff going on in this house at that time, and it was just right after I purchased it too.
Or some of those things?
I felt like time was going faster, like just kind of like time lapse. I'd be here, I'd be like, I don't know what's going on, what time it is. The doors would open, the bells were ringing. I was constantly smelling a burning smell, almost like a sulfur smell. And I felt like I was being hunted. Like something was watching me or hunting me almost. And I couldn't sleep. If I fell asleep, I was afraid that whatever it was would come and get me if I was not awake. And then not being able to speak or draw or write and communicate to tell people what was going on. It was like something was saying, no, I'm not letting me do it.
Wow.
And that was the hardest and weirdest part of my whole entire life.
So just kind of bottled up, not allowing you to like express yourself.
Yes.
The sulfur is usually demonic, so when we cleanse the house, that's the part that Kim had gotten when we came in here, like sensing things.
Yeah.
And then after that was done, you could just tell like this kind of like,
it's gone. It's not here anymore. And before you guys came, there was something guiding me. Like I felt trapped here, but I couldn't do anything. But like something said to me, and I don't know if you want to say in my head or like a spirit guide, but to eat a clove. So I took a clove and I had to chew on it, and it was for protection and clarity. And then I had to eat tobacco, not smoke it, because I needed the full effect of it. Okay. And then breaking an egg to lift a veil and to clear my eyes. And I took my glasses and rubbed them with eggs and put them on to like break something. Like I felt like I needed to detach something on me, but also to protect myself. I don't do that. Like it, in the sense is like something was trying to help me during that time frame.
So where did these concepts come from as far as the eggs and the clove and all of that?
I don't know. It was in that it was 5 days, I guess, where things were really where I was weird and the house was weird.
Hmm.
And there's gaps where between, like I'd feel like I'd go somewhere else and then come back here, and that I needed to protect myself, kind of. And I don't know where those concepts came from. It was just like a guiding voice telling me to do this to help me.
Wow. Well, that was a good guide because it worked, right?
Yeah, it did. And then the whole eating a cheesehead racer and not being able to write and talk, but saying, don't call Ghostbusters, call Go Pack Go. And then you guys came in Kimmy's Jeep, which had like
the green Jeep with the green for me license plate. Yeah,
Yep.
It's like, oh, okay.
And that was 3 days before you guys were even contacted. During the event too, I felt like I couldn't escape the house, but when I did, I would continuously smell that sulfur. And I was running for my life from the house. I ran a 5.5 minute mile, and I don't run. And they're like, she's running again, and they timed me to get to my destination. And then also doing weird yoga poses. There's videos of me doing weird poses that I can't do, like holding up my body weight. And
Oh, interesting.
it is interesting.
You put those all on YouTube, right?
Yeah, no, not yet, no. But so there was just so much weirdness that happened in that time frame, but it didn't feel like it was me. Like something here was attaching, but that's gone now.
Now, so the thing that was attaching you, you think it's also the thing that was guiding you, or is that two different
Two
things?
different things.
Okay.
It felt like at a time here in the house that I went to hell. Almost. It was like being in hell. And not just the disorientation and the time and going outside, and the it was foggy and not understanding, but then feeling that there's something sinister there too. It was beautiful though, because it was that God was there too. And to know that there are such things as demons out there, and that they do prey on you. And prior to the event, I had a lot of trials and tribulations. And having that fear and anxiety, it was just a source power for a demon, pretty much,
Well,
to come in to pray.
They pray when they see there's an opening, and then they pounce.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, if
And
people...
doing the Delta 8 and just really that whole part, like it
compounded itself.
It did. It made me an easy target, especially having some abilities, if you want to call it that, or being spiritual. But mentally weak too at the time frame. It just really affirms my faith more too.
Well, usually when you believe in one, you believe in the other.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people that believe in God, but they don't believe there's a devil. So it's kind of like a balancing act. So if you're good, you go up. If you're bad, you go down. And like you said, you had one entity that was pushing you, controlling you, another person that was guiding you and show you how to get back out of there. And so timing wise, I think everything worked out well.
Yes, very much so.
That could have been worse.
Yes. And only other things that have happened too since your investigation, there's been a few times where I'll have friends over, usually linked to my friend Dana. But something will knock over in the kitchen. And you just kind of look at you like, did you hear that? I heard that too. Okay, but you go in there and you don't see anything knocked over. So that's kind of, a common thing that happens.
Well, I've been sitting here and I heard a click like right over here. So I double check my cameras to make sure they're all on. So I have no idea what clicked. Just interesting. I'm not as sensitive. I can see things and hear things like normal people, and the rest is the equipment. So as far as the sensitive side, that's where Kim comes in. And when we walked in the house after we just got here, and this has been like what, 2 months, 3 months
since March, so 5 months.
Yeah,
Or
wow,
5 months.
About half a year. That's when my gas line went out in my big truck. Yeah, but she said she walked in, it just was like loads lighter. So we could sage the house and do more, but if it's cute little funny things, I really don't see a need unless there's something that would be negative.
It almost kind of seems in a sense like I'm the new lady of the house, as weird as that sounds, but we've all called this place home at one point in time. And if they're not ready to move on, I that's them.
Yeah.
But sharing the space, but still kind of being a good roommate to each other is how I kind of view it.
Well, as long as there's an acceptance,
Yeah.
that's good. Rather than this is mine, go away, which is what we had going on the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, ouch. We've gone to places where it's like, leave now. That we get on the spirit box, like, we just got here. It was a 7.5 hour trip. We're not leaving. And then stuff starts to happen. It's like, ooh.
Yes. But no, I said everything has calmed down minus the activities that I shared just before. So a lot better. So thank you for that.
Good. Glad we could help. Now, I know the other group had done, saging, and then you had all the same activities like the next day. Anything you think that we did differently than that group did?
So as in the prior equipment that I told you about?
No, because when Kim and I came in here, the guy from Green Bay was here, and then he was going to come back and like do a saging, and then so he did, and then you said you still had activity that's going on, stuff was wiggling, the cabinet doors were like opening and closing, stuff like that, and then we came back, and that stuff stopped.
Yep. During that time frame, I was not in the house, minus for a few time frame. I ended up going into the hospital.
Yep.
Ended up, said before, tried smoking Delta 8, and they called it a Delta 8 psychosis plus post-traumatic stress disorder. And it was a rough year. So I had a breakdown too, plus everything in the house with the ghost. Definitely a hard time. So during that time frame, it was primarily Dylan who was here and managing that. So I'm not able to say if there is really any difference. I was here briefly, and I still felt apprehensive in the house. After getting baptized too before coming in the house, and then after you guys cleansed it all, it definitely felt lighter, and I slept the whole night. That was a good thing. It's the first time I slept in the house in over a week.
Yeah, that's huge. Sleep deprivation, that'll do lots of stuff. Good. So I really don't see anything else that we need to do. I know Kim and I brought the equipment, and we're just gonna do some readings. I have a brand new portal we put together, so we're gonna see if we can communicate a little bit. Check the hot spots again with the EVP meters and see if there's anything else interesting.
Also, during upstairs, sometimes in that closet, I ended up taking out the wood panel because there's like a cubby hole back there.
Okay. Yep.
That I was thinking about doing some remodeling with. But there are times where it almost kind of sounds like something is in there at night. So I'm like, is there a critter or something? And ruled that out. There wasn't.
Hopefully it's not a bat.
But there was another gentleman that came here that bought some, I guess we say, scientific equipment for hopefully ghost hunting. But when I went to go show him that and open it up, it was a 20-30 degree shot or decrease or something in climate. It was cold. The readers were going off, and it's almost like it shot out of there and came out of the bedroom like, oh, you found me. And it was bouncing through the house, talking in different rooms, and then it'd be gone.
Oh, wow. Did he get the recordings of the audio?
I'm not sure what his equipment all entailed, but I can reach out with him.
Sure. That's good stuff. When you have your audio recorder, there's a figure. When you have your camera, there's a sound. It's like, It's like I usually talk to Anthony. Did you get that? No.
And also, so my first time being in this house, before I had gone to downstairs in the basement or anything, I was picturing this green spot on the basement wall. And also something with newspapers, and the newspapers had bad juju with them. Now, this isn't uncommon for me. There's times where I go into people's homes or follow, I don't know, it feels like the house has talked to me. I had it my whole entire life. And I was never scared of it, but I ended up describing what the basement looked like. And there was the green spot that's now painted over and everything before ever walking down there.
And there is a physical green spot?
Yeah, there was. It was painted over just a couple months ago.
Nice.
And there's the newspaper in the back wall. But also that there is something buried here at the right hand of the corner, and there's something with crosses. There's actually a brick out there where it looks like there's 3 crosses that were carved in, or like it's just naturally that way, but I haven't dug over there. So there's a lot of things with this house. And I know that they're like, she's talking to ghosts, but I always kind of felt like it was the house telling me a tale because it wants to be known.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know unless something
No.
says, hey, look at me.
Or going in and finding the Matchbox cars. It's just like something's
Yep.
guiding me to these things. But it's
Interesting
not
stuff.
it's not negative by any means.
Which is good. Yeah, it's better than it was, absolutely. So I know there's like, all the Native American things,
Yes.
and, attachments to water, be right next to the water sources, and then underground springs. You just don't know what's traveling around,
Mm-hmm.
so you do your best to purify or cleanse something, and then a week later something comes in the front door, or like we've got a friend that orders packages from overseas, and stuff seems to be attached
Yes.
to those things. It's like, oh, well, you can do it all and clean everything, and all of a sudden you get 5 more packages off of Amazon or something, and Temu, and they're there again.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Nope. Completely.
Almost like a chiropractor. Hey, we'll charge you every time we come back and do this. You need your back adjustment twice a week. Be quite the racket.
It adds up, but said everything's been a lot better, not negative by any means.
Good. Alrighty, well, we'll wrap this up,
Mhm.
and then we'll get everybody else back over and see what we can see. Try
Okay.
some new toys and see what happens.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you. And then there's
I see you looking out your window. I see you looking out your window. What do you see? I wondering what you're thinking. I wondering what you're thinking. What can it be? A blur, a crack, a scream in the night, a hoot, a howl, something's not right. You creep forward, what can it be? But it's too dark to see. I see you looking out your window. I see you looking out your window. What do you see? I wondering what you're thinking, wondering what you're thinking. What can it be? Got my camera sitting in a tree, drones getting pictures high above me. If it comes through, we'll have the proof once and for all. Is it fake or true? I see you looking out your window. I see you looking out your window. What do you see? I wondering what you're thinking, wondering what you're thinking. What can it be? We've got a picture, there's one thing for sure. It's always an adventure, always an adventure, always an adventure, always an adventure. It's always an adventure, always an adventure, it's always an adventure. I see you looking out your window. 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 I see you looking out your window.